It's a morning time for once.
This is unusual for us. Well, how was your week, firstly?
It was work, a lot of work.
It was a busy week for work.
Busy week, yeah. We were a bit crazy, weren't we, I think? A lot of new things coming in and a lot of old things still to go out. But I had a bit of time around the house yesterday where I was knocking down a lean-to building on the side of the house.
You started doing that?
I started that.
Oh, very nice.
So it's a lot of fun. I'm now at the delicate stage. I've got to get the windows out because I want to keep them for something.
Okay, yeah.
And I've got to find, but I haven't found the way in yet. If that makes sense.
Yeah, you haven't found
There's loads of screws going
mechanism
into it that I can't get out. So I've got to find where I can lift something off and access it.
I mean, yeah. A challenge for next week, perhaps.
Maybe a little bit this afternoon. Yeah. What about yourself?
It's been a busy week for work, as you know. We're doing, as we, also I'm doing the house. The house is being renovated, so it's an absolute state at the moment, which makes it hard to really do anything. It's covered. We got to the part where they're doing a lot of plastering, so the rest of the house is just covered in that kind of plaster dust.
Yeah,
it's horrible, but we are getting by. The dog is fine.
I remember doing a flat once, and basically it was only it was a studio apartment, and we were putting a wall in to have a separate bedroom, and we spent a lot of our time making our bed up each day, or taking it apart in the morning.
Yeah.
Then lifting up the sofa, putting it on its end, putting dust covers over everything in one corner of the room, and then doing the work, trying to put the stud walling in, doing the electrics, doing the plastering, and all the while each day, at the end of the day when you're knackered and having done it all, you then got to take the bed apart, put the bed back together again, take the sofa down just to sit and watch 5 minutes of TV before you fall asleep. Anyway, I know your pain. I know your pain.
Yeah, it's tough. Well, I'm getting people to do it, so it's a bit easier for me. But I know, yes, get that. Anyway, I don't know if it was at the end of last podcast, but we set each other a little bit of homework.
Yes.
You asked me, I sent you a YouTube video, and I think that would be the format. I'll probably send you a few other YouTube videos, because I think that's the medium, that's what I like to watch a lot of, is YouTube.
Yeah.
I think it was just announced as the biggest provider of content in the UK. It surpassed, or it was just under the BBC as the biggest streaming service.
Wow.
Or biggest even.
I watch a lot of YouTube stuff, but I wouldn't have thought it would be the biggest.
I think it's also like in children, it's like the career choice. Like it used to be, I want to be a celebrity. Now it's I want to be a YouTuber or like streamer. I think is now the thing.
I've got 4 children. At one point in time, all of them have said, I want to make YouTube videos. And I haven't, because they've never come to me with an idea or content, I've just said, I'm not getting involved. If they came to me and said, Dad, I want to do this, I think I would consider it as something for them to do. But I wouldn't. But we always talk about this idea. It's like being a footballer or a famous actor. Yes, that is a possible career path. You can do this, but what are the odds you're actually going to get to the top tier?
But also, you got to put the work in. You don't see. I think a lot of the time people don't see the work you got to put in for those things. And actually, when you sit down, you're like, I've got to do a YouTube video. It's a lot of work, actually, and I think people forget that sometimes, especially kids, because kids just see the.
Yeah,
when I was a kid, I was like, it's so easy. You just hit record, and I'm like, no, you got the admin.
Some of the ones my daughter watches now. It's a little bit sinister in my mind, because it's usually young children playing with their parents or something like that, and the parents are obviously the people that are running this YouTube channel. And it's almost like they've monetised their children.
Yeah, that's very much the thing.
And it always looks like a lot of fun for the children, because their parents are fully involved in their activities and they're taking them places and doing things, crafting the whole time. But I cannot realistically imagine what that is like for real.
Yeah, when the cameras stop rolling.
Yeah.
And actually, I think that it's again the fallacy of social media is you only ever see the best of people. So you never see actually, they might have producers who are editing it, or maybe they ignore their kid for like 12 hours while they're editing that content.
Once they've got the content, it's all not now, I've got to do this.
Which is so disingenuous, which I really hate actually as a thing, right? It's horrible.
I mean, if you think, but you go back in time, 100 years or whatever. If a family owned a shop, the kids would be expected to be involved in that. The kids would have been stocking the shelves, or
but that'd have been more genuine. They still would have. I think the parents wouldn't have that's a different kind. Is that a different kind of monetization? Perhaps not, but it's more genuine to that. It's not like let's play pretend I'm gonna love you for this video.
Yeah.
Where it's like you are my kid, you can help with the family and earn your not earn your keep.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
You can help.
You can help. This family needs you to do this to survive.
So, yeah.
Whereas
these people are just like, let's get rich off faking how lovely our family is.
Yeah, and
essentially. And maybe some argument.
There must be some money in it because these people always tend to have the ability to buy toys for the children to play with.
Is that just an expense, essentially?
Expensive, yeah.
A business expense.
There's a lot of that written off there. It's not something that I would ever want to do with my children, and try to be more realistic with them about doing something you want to do because you enjoy it, not because you think you're going to become a multi-millionaire out of it.
Yeah. There's problems with that, being a millionaire. But anyway, so I sent you a YouTube video. Back to it.
You did indeed. It was about the Horus Heresy.
Yes.
By Abator.
Ian. Arbitor. Ian. Oh god, I can't remember. We should probably reference it because we are trying to. Actually, I've got the video here.
I've got it.
Have you got it there as well? It was just a video it's a 45-minute video recapping the Horus Heresy, basically. And I think he does the best.
Arbiter
Ian.
Arbiter Ian.
Yes. I think he does the best recaps on the kind of Horus Heresy and 30k era, so I thought that's the best one to send you.
I think I appreciate that, but I think my level of understanding was too low.
Really? I thought he would give the most basic. Maybe I'm too deep in it.
I think for the Horus Heresy particularly, admittedly this led me to looking at other things. I found another one that's like an introductory thing he does.
Okay, yeah.
Which even he says it's aimed at grandparents or mums or something like that if their child has expressed an interest and wants to do it.
Okay.
Just giving a wide overview, not talking about story or stuff, but just talking about the media that the media that it's in.
The context.
So it's not just tabletop gaming; it's a craft, it's a hobby in that sense. Then there's video games. There's
novels and the whole charade, like the whole ecosystem, environment of it, bubble of it.
And then I found another video which just talked. I think it was another one of his where I think he had a friend that he was starting that was
starting that journey,
and they had some questions about what the story was. Whereas the Horus Heresy really goes into a little bit more detail than I was ready for. I found it's. Even though I've had a bit more exposure to 40k than Pokemon, for example, there was still a lot of looking at a map, the star map, with symbols going across, and he's talking about it, and I'm just it's like, okay,
fair enough. That's good to know because I didn't think I thought you'd have known a context, but
I knew, I recognised Ultramarines, I recognised Blood Angels. There was a few of the legions that I recognised, but. It did make me go, I need to find something that
a bit more of an earlier starting point.
Yeah, an earlier starting point, which I did, and then it made a little bit more sense of the Horus legacy, and also the fact that it positions it as 31k, which was that. Even though it was mentioned in that, I didn't realise that was then leading up to where my knowledge really was. And the stuff I was... I'll be honest, it has sparked an interest again in more of the story than anything else. I found the whole... Having the detail of where the Emperor kind of started, not came from, where he started, what he did in the First Crusade.
Yeah, the First Crusade, conquered the galaxy kind of thing.
The galaxy, and then it crumbles down. I've always been... In science fiction, I'm always fascinated by that idea, especially with... a universe or galaxy, which one's the bigger one? Universe. Where you have a situation where there is high evolution technology.
Well, actually, it's actually all in one galaxy.
Oh, it's in one
galaxy.
And
you know the reason we know this because actually is a really creepy fact. So you know the Tyranids, the aliens. They've come from a different galaxy,
right?
But they're coming from all fronts, which means they might have conquered all the other galaxies, and they're closing in, they're surrounding in on our galaxy, which I think is, when I think about it, I'm like, well, that gives me shivers. It's like horrible to think like everything else is just Tyranids and it's just coming in now in our galaxy, and it's like, oh gosh.
That overwhelming odds. But then, you know, we're built for war now as a species.
There's only war in the far future. There's only war.
There's only war. Yeah.
But your general thoughts on it, like, did you glean something from it? The whole idea.
Yeah, definitely. I think, like I said, I started looking to see if I could find, you know, a book to start with, and maybe that's something you could suggest at some point.
I will suggest one. I have a friend who's read a lot more of it, because I've just read The Siege of Terra, which is like that last bit where Horus comes for the Emperor.
Is that Terra?
Yeah, just at Terra. That's just in Sol. That's when he gets to Sol, and it's the whole thing from there.
Yeah.
But that's a bit, I think there's some earlier ones where I think you can... So there's ones where the betrayal kind of starts. It starts with the word bearer... Oh gosh, I've forgotten the word bearer's Primarch. He basically starts figuring out there's gods, or the dark gods, and then he kind of manipulates Horus and other people to then start falling to chaos. And that's when it all kind of begins, basically. So, I'll definitely recommend a book for you to start the... They do use a lot of, when I have listened to the books, they do use a lot of like the in-world like lingo, which I find quite jarring sometimes, because it's like, unless you know exactly what that piece of technology is, you gotta you gotta like guess it. That's probably just like a terminal. That's like a scanner. They call it auguries, like that's just scanners, like, you know, all that kind of nonsense. But once you get past that, they're pretty good books, to be honest.
I mean, they seem, you know, from what I read, that, you know, they've been in the New York bestseller lists.
Yeah, but like, I swear to God, every book seems to have been on the New York bestseller list at some point, and I just see every time I see a book that's like, I guess because like the big books I see, right? I don't look at books much, so the ones I do see are probably the big ones.
Is it they've just got a captured market in the Warhammer fans, so they're going to buy it? You're
going
to get that number each time.
Well, things like the Horus Heresy, you know, last year they finished the whole saga,
right?
And so that might have been why it was in the top, because it was like the big ending, and the books are like, you know, they're like, I don't know, it's like 6 inches thick, like ridiculous things. But yes. So
one question I've got for you: when you go to play the game, are you still set in the 40k universe?
So it depends where you want to play. So if you're playing match games, like tournament games, you're normally just playing games, and it doesn't matter. But if you're playing like a narrative campaign, so they have some books that are narrative campaigns where they're like, you play through this series of events on this planet, and it's like a thing. So it's like there's a famous one, I think, where it's the Imperial Fists go to the home world of the Sons of Horus, and they kind of take over. And that's like a whole siege thing. And you can play through that campaign. They give you like missions to play, and they're normally asymmetric, so like one person normally has a bit more of an advantage, or the other person's like doing an assault on there. And narrative games aren't built fairly, typically, because you're playing a narrative, right? You're not.
If you end up with a different outcome,
that's fine. And the books normally figure out things to do about that, and that's cool. I enjoy the narrative side more. So I did a narrative tournament thing where we were loyalists and heretics. Yeah. And we each played against each other, and like each game would produce some level of points to go towards either the traitors or the loyalists. And at the end of the whole tournament, which was 2 days, we figured out who one of the loyalists in there. And that was all set. That was a homebrew thing, and it's all set on this one world that's in like a warp storm and is isolated from the rest of the galaxy. I think that's what allows 30k and 40k to work so well, because it's the whole galaxy, right? Yeah. It's like, you can go anywhere, and you can like, I'll take this little pocket of planets that no one actually cares about, and run a whole campaign there about these two fighting legions, and it doesn't really affect the ground.
It doesn't,
So you can play these narratives, and what's so good is you can just pick out a bit of the universe and be like, this is happening here, and that's fine.
You can play 31k.
30k, you can play 30k and 40k. Those are the two distinct kind of eras.
So they do exist as separate games, separate models and separate.
Yeah, and they got separate models and separate. Yeah, you can't. They're different in that aspect. You don't really have any of the Xenos races. It's like your Eldar and your Tyranids and your Necrons. You don't have those in 30k as much. They do, like, they reference them, like Eldar, because Eldar have been about forever. They turn up, but they're not a playable characters.
Yeah. So it's more about that infighting between the loyalists and the...
Yeah, all the legions. Because the legions are massive and they're like, you know, they're
but they don't use
pretty
the
scary.
chaos stuff?
They're not as chaosy at this point, right?
Cable crossers? Because that was what I thought
They
the
are
last
chaos.
driving force of the traitors.
So they are chaos, but they're not chaos as you see in 40k. They're not with all the spikes, and they're just starting to become like that mutated.
The more I suppose the
extreme.
point is that the longer that process is going on, the more extremes they go to.
Yeah. So the more it just like infests, and that's so like at Siege of Terror, you know, Mortari and the Death Guard, who are like the zombie kind of plague guys, look very different to how they look in 40k because they're just becoming like rotten and putrid and all that jazz.
Yeah.
So there is difference, and you look at things like, and they also change their colour schemes, which is so funny to me because it's like, oh, we're now the bad guys. Let's change our colour. Let's paint our armour.
Yeah, we got time now.
we got time. Let's paint all our armour.
Yeah,
it's
ridiculous. It's like somebody going through their goth stage.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you got something out of it.
No, I did.
You got an inkling of interest.
Yeah, an inkling of interest. I don't see having, you know, that's sometimes I get paralysed by media because there's especially big stuff like Warhammer. There's a lot of books.
There's a lot of predefined lore, right? Yeah, and if you don't know it, it's quite.
You get overwhelmed with it. Well, I'm never going to be able to see it all. I'm never going to be able to know it all, and it's that. To even just take a footstep in it, sometimes you just got to go. It doesn't matter if I don't read every last book. Let's see what it's about. Let's see what the stories are. What it is that's interesting and fun and whatever. You know, I talked. I think the first week. About the Sharps books. There's like 20 of them or something, and now I've just finished the first one. I've got this thing of like, I better start the second one, but then I'm thinking, well, now I want to look at some of this Warhammer stuff, and I've also got the book I'm in the middle of already.
Yeah, everyone like all these 5 books you want to consume it all. No, I get that. I do that a lot with like projects when I want to like build stuff. I'm like always. Like, I want to do this project. Oh, no, I want to do this project. And I'm like, oh my gosh, too much.
It's like having some self-control with your media and going, no, I'm going to focus on this for a little while, and I'll see how it goes. And or the guilt, I don't know if you have this, is the guilt of having started some media and got halfway through it, and you got distracted by something else, and you go and start
I think that's
and
okay.
Go back
I don't know. There's something about that. I know exactly what you mean. There's like the guilt of unfinished. Like, this idea that you must complete a thing. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's a recent thing in life, but like, I feel far more guilt about not completing something. But that's fine. I think actually, if you're bored of a thing,
it's not even necessarily that you're bored of it. It's just
there's something more interesting comes along. I think that's okay. I think to some extent. I think
we were talking about it last week. You were saying about video games. And you were saying that some of these games are they're too big. It was Fallout. We were talking about Fallout, and you were saying you didn't like the fact that you couldn't do all the missions, and you come back to it later, and you've just lost where you were. Yeah.
No, it's just too much. Yeah, and I think shorter media is a tight. Like I said, short media, nice and tight.
Yeah,
can sometimes be a lot nicer than this drawn out huge thing, unless you're really invested in it.
Yeah.
But that's okay either way. If you don't want to do it, if you don't want to do it, I think that's fine. Anyway, you sent me off to watch 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Yeah.
Now, what a film. I have some notes.
Okay.
I'm going to pull them up quickly on my phone because I need to get a notepad. You have a notepad.
Yes.
You bought one specially for this.
We went
to Tesco to grab that.
Yeah, went to Tesco's, grabbed it, and I've written my notes in this, so I can just turn a page, look at you scrolling. Here I am on my notes.
Okay, yeah. I will probably also get a notepad at some point. So, 2000. My thoughts. So my first thought, right, was I thought my TV was broken because there's 3 minutes of nothing on the screen. So I had to stop it and then play it, and I was like, oh no, just. And I think that defines a lot of my thoughts on this film because it is slow.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it's slow. So the monkeys.
Yeah, monkeys.
We linger on that point for far too long. Maybe 20 minutes on the monkeys.
At least.
One dude gets straight up assaulted by a leopard. And apparently that's fine. I had to look up when the film was made to be like, this was before laws and stuff on this kind of...
Yeah.
And it's 1967, 68?
I thought it was 69.
That is crazy how old that film is. I thought it was a lot newer than that.
68.
68, yeah. So yeah, he just gets straight up attacked by a leopard.
Yeah.
And in a monkey suit. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what is happening here? We did a lot of lingering on the primate humans. Then we just go to space. That was the crappiest transition. The guy like throws the bone up, and then we're in space.
Yeah.
That was a bad transition.
That is famous for being a classic transition.
It's so bad. Oh, maybe it's the first transition, but
it's not the first. Oh, you mean the first one in the film?
Oh, like the first, like in just like general films.
Yeah, I
like
think
in like
so.
that kind
I
of
think
transition style.
I admit it. It does. It's jarring because it doesn't quite line up. It needed to be exact almost. The last shot.
That
of
is
the
a
bone
theme.
and the,
That is a theme for his whole film. It feels like a film that wasn't really finished. Because there's a lot of there's also a few cuts. There's just some random cuts.
Yeah.
Where they're like, "Oh, these 2 takes of this scene are the best 2 halves of it." So I'm just going to cut in the middle.
Yeah.
And like, apparently everyone's fine with that. It's bizarre. Anyway, there's a lot of models of spaceships when we start in space, and I love that. I love a good kit bashed Greebleed model.
Yeah.
They looked beautiful, and I was there for it. And there's like the stylized planets that were clearly just like a disc. Not even like a globe, just a disc that was like moving through the screen. Loved a lot of that. There were some hints I felt of Monty Python in there, in the kind of animatics of it all. It must have been around the same era.
I think
the styles felt
70s, but yeah,
there's a style.
Influenced
I think it's because like all the things felt like cutouts that were just moving on screen. They didn't feel the models would just you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think sometimes what you would have had was an image, a picture of one of the models with a 3D. The
camera's doing stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, there was a lot of that, but this is all early doors. This is
well, in 1960s, I had to
special effects at the time.
So yeah, they did a lot. There's clearly a lot of effort on making the inside of spaceships and the inside of spacecrafts feel futuristic, and I think it holds up.
Yeah.
It holds up really well. It feels very Star Warsy in the fact they got these big blocky buttons and like everyone's pressing that beep boop boop boop, that kind of stuff. And the screens are doing something, but like compared to today's screens, they look stupid. They're just like COM, just written on one, and I'm like, cool, that's great.
Yeah, that's being used wisely. This £500,000 screen.
Yeah, it probably worked for those times.
And it's just like, just COM. Okay, fair enough.
Like I said, and they've got. A lot of the ideas still hold up. Yeah, I think a lot of spaceships feel pretty good still for the age. The editing is weird. The music as well just comes in and out. There's huge portions of it where there's just no music.
Yeah.
Especially when he's going to go get his friend and the arms like...
But didn't that make you feel more tense?
It felt again like it was maybe it's because it made me realise I'm so used to every second of a film having some music.
And it's something I think I grew up during the transitional period between films being slow or allowing for pacing and things being slower, and to things having to get to the point really quickly. So I think I can speak both languages. I can deal with the fast things, I can deal with the small things. My children cannot. I keep tempting to let them watch something like 2001 or Blade Runner or something that has the time in it to allow you to think about what's going on, what you're watching, and I think it's a lost skill or starting to be lost. That everything has to be a snappy edit. It has to be a 10-minute long video on YouTube, and the growth of YouTube really does make that point.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to keep going. With my ideas. So. The sound was there's a point where there's like where he's like addressing the embassy or some crap, and there's like 10 people in a room, and they all clap, and the clapping sounds horrid. It's like this is what I mean. It kind of feels unedited because like the clapping just sounds terrible. It's so weird. I
can't remember that scene.
It's because he's talking about they found the obelisk, but we're talking about it being an infection that's like. So like we're not talking about the obelisk just yet. We're talking about.
Was this on the moon?
Yeah, on the moon.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, he's like talking about that. They talk a lot of corporate America. I noticed in the film, it's a lot of corporate America shit. They're like, "That was a hell of a speech, Hal. Yeah, really boost morale." This kind of stuff. And I was like, okay. It felt just very like, even though they're in space, it still felt corporate America talking like, "Oh yeah, we'll get that deal wrapped up."
Did you not notice that they were?
I
I think it was like the space shuttle he comes in on is a Pan Am spaceship.
It's a Pan Am spaceship, yeah.
So I think that's quite a
and he
realistic
meets people
idea
who are like,
yeah.
we always meet at this space terminal. How's business going, Jeff? And like, give my best to the kids, like that kind of thing. There's a lot of that in there.
Yeah, and I think that from a picture in 2001 from 1968.
Yeah, it's just more corporate America. More corporate America, baby.
That's what it was.
It's just very funny. Creepy music is very creepy. When they go to the moon obelisk, and it starts screaming, and like the people are like doing this weird wavy chanting. That was freaky. Yeah. And I think the visuals really match that freakiness. And they're all standing around. But in my mind, I don't know how much of that is by accident. Like, also, so the same thing when he's rescuing his friend and there's no music.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's tense by accident, because they just didn't put music in.
It's deliberate. It's a deliberate choice.
Some of it felt like, this is tense, but I don't know how much they just didn't put music in because they didn't want to, or it's tense because they chose that.
Stanley Kubrick had the confidence to be able to do creepy music, to make that work, and the ability to use silence to build
up some suspense. It was interesting. I did enjoy it. Hal was a weird in their thing. It was good. It was like a commentary on AI way before its time, maybe. But it was really cool. I think the fact that like all of a sudden he just like sabotages everything, but like it's very split second all of a sudden. It's like one scene of him like being like, and then like throwing the guy.
How would you interpret Hal's change in motivation?
Well, it's I put down here Hal is very sinister, but I don't know if this is by accident. I think it's the iconic red dot thing, right? The red lens, and I think he feels very sinister. But I don't know if the sinisterness is because of the slow pace. This idea that he's like always in control and doesn't have to say things because he's doing all these millions of calculations in the background. You know what I mean? Like,
I can't remember now if the intention was that it was because of his programming. Not that the programming was wrong. It was just that he was programmed that the mission was the most important part of what he was doing.
Okay.
Or
so
if he was somehow affected by the.
Well, I was going to ask you. He's saying like Hal. He's saying, Dave, I'm afraid.
Yeah.
Do you think he's actually afraid, or do you think he's saying that to then coerce emotions? And is it like he's a very like narcissistic way. He doesn't have any emotions, but he's using emotions to manipulate.
I think when I was younger, when I first, the first few times I've seen it, I would probably have said that he was, that was him emoting his feelings.
Yeah.
But now I can see how my knowledge of what AI can do nowadays is you start to think that actually he was using all the skills in his toolbox to
try and stop the guy. So he's just saying things that
he's just saying what he thinks might this. I know that sympathy can stop people from doing things through uses that. Yeah.
And did Hal try and tell them about the monolith? Because there's an early scene where he's like, "Man, what's going on the moon, man? That's crazy. Do you really think it's like a virus?" And he's like probing them, like, "Do you think that's a virus?" And like he might know differently. So I think there's some bits in there that are really clever with the Hal stuff.
Yeah,
so it made me think about it.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the good things about it, is it makes you have to think about these things. Why is Hal doing the thing? Is he being influenced by an alien thing? Is he just been
programmed wrong?
But or is his is there a secret programming that he wasn't that they're not aware of?
Yeah.
And then when you meet the aliens, have they had control over what was happening?
Yeah.
Trying influencing those things?
Or
is this just how it happened?
We'll get to the end of the film.
Okay.
They get to Jupiter.
Yeah.
And there's a monolith floating around. And then cut to 10 minutes of crazy visuals. 10 minutes of crazy visuals. And like a still every now and again of the dude slapped up against his visor.
Yeah.
That is stupid.
Stupid?
Yeah.
Wow.
10 minutes of that?
You think it could have been shorter?
Yeah, okay. And then he ends up and then I read some stuff. He ends up in the alien zoo, which is just like a French decored living, and then he like lives there for a bit, and then he evolves into the next evolution of Space Baby, which is then apparently a metaphor for the next generation of human evolution.
Yeah. And
then it ends. And that's it.
Are you disappointed at that point?
I think so. My problem with this film is it could be a tight 20 minutes. The whole film. There is actually very little story in this film. There is actually very little story. And I think that is what ruins it for me. And there's only so many times I can say that is great visual effects for the 1960s. You know, it's like, that must have been really impressive in 1960. You know what I mean? There's only so many times I can say that.
It's the equivalent of an action movie nowadays just having one too many fight scenes, and you just get...
Yeah, like, they're doing all these things about them turning upside down in the space shuttle and like, you know, oh, look at these crazy... You know, this is what we can do in space.
But you can
only do that so many times.
In 1968...
Yeah, that's great, but I can't say that every day. They hadn't landed on the moon
at that point.
Yeah, but I can't, in the modern day, I can't be like, that's crazy good for when it was made in 1960. Like, I can't, that's not good enough to hold up, to stand up to time.
Alright, what about
just too slow.
Practical effects you might not have noticed? Do you remember when he was on the ship?
Yeah.
The spaceship going to the space station?
Yeah.
You've got a whole scene of the stewardess.
Yeah.
Walking towards him.
Yeah.
Right? First of all, how is she getting around that thing?
Yeah,
and then walking down the thing. How does she do that?
I get it. It's really cool. They spent a lot of time on it, but they're really stressing. Look at this cool thing we figured out. Like, you can't stress that forever.
Yeah. Then there's a pen floating.
Yeah, pen floating. She picks up, but you can see there's like almost like a cut because you can see it's floating. And it's like boop into her hand a bit.
Did you want that? That is not a cut.
Go on, hit me. What is it?
It's a glass sheet.
Yeah.
And they're moving it around like that.
Yeah.
And it's stuck on with something. And that movement you see...
It's her just checking off.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
But
it's good
visual effects. It's a really good thing.
They've done some really good visual effects. I agree.
What about I forgot what the main space... Discovery.
Yeah.
They're running... He's running around it.
Yeah. But that's a giant cylinder, isn't it?
Yeah.
And he's just like standing on it, and then the whole thing is moving.
Around. And that's
there's another one. There's a weird one where there's a cylinder moving at the end, and they walk down, and they stand in the cylinder bit, and then they're rotating with it.
Yeah.
That one, I was like, I don't really know how they've done that.
Yeah,
there's a few things.
There's a lot of practical effects in there that they had to work out.
But they're stressing them too much. They're like, look at this cool visual effect we made. They're doing far too much of
that. You wouldn't want to show it off.
But that's not the point of the film.
Okay.
You could, imagine today we just had like a film where like 80% of it was like, look at this VFX we made. Look at these crazy... But they stressed it. It was like, that was the thing you need to be looking at. You can't do that for 20 minutes of a film, even today. Like, you know...
You were saying about it feeling like a shorter thing. Originally, it was a short story by Arthur C. Clarke.
Yeah, what, pro one page?
I don't know exactly. It's called The Sentinel.
Okay, yeah.
And then... At the same time he was developing it into a novel, that's when the film was being developed at the same time. Mm. So there are some variations between where the stories go.
Mm.
And with the book, it's still quite a short book.
Yeah.
You know, even though it was a short story, it just got fleshed out a bit more. And I see what he's saying about that. But it's that... I don't know myself. I haven't seen it for quite some time now, and you know the last few times I watched it, every time that space through the Stargate thing, I fell asleep every time. I just can't. To be honest,
when I watched it, I started playing at 11 p.m. on Friday night with a bottle of wine, and I'd finished the bottle of wine by that point. I was like, "What is going on? What is this?" And just it was like nearly like 1 a.m. almost by that point. I was just like, "This is insane," but if I was in a cinema, it also had an intermission. I enjoyed that. It had an intermission. I was like, that is class. But it's too long. They linger on too many points. If that was made today, the early civilization ape bit would have been maybe a minute at most, not 20 minutes.
Yeah. But then, would they have been able to get the nuance?
Yeah, I think they would have. I think they could have got the scariness of this obelisk turning up in the prehistoric very quickly. Maybe humans now, maybe we're all programmed to just like understand context immediately and understand immediately.
I suppose the similar kind of things in anthology, Love, Death and Robots.
Yeah.
They do a lot of things in a very short.
They can build up a lot of worlds in very little time, and I think we're really good at that now because we've had lots of time to build better and better ways of telling less and less or more and more in less and less time. But I think my overall synopsis, there's some really good stuff from. It was a really cool, probably in the 1960s. It has some cool spaceships, some cool ideas, but it's just too long. It's just too slow. It doesn't hold up.
Would you have had the aliens, blowing up something?
No, but they could have been.
But that would be one thing I'd say. I don't think it would be very easy to make that film.
No, people wouldn't greenlight it at all because there's not enough conflict. There's
Even
no conflict, arguably.
Yeah.
Apart from Hal, there's really no, dude's just investigating some stuff.
Yeah.
So, yes.
They'd have to find another element to put into it.
And the thing is, I'm sure people would say, "Oh, but all films from that era are slow and drawn out." But I think It's a Wonderful Life, which is an even older film.
Yeah.
I think that pacing is a little slow. Yeah. But it's still fine.
Yeah.
I'd watch that.
Still enjoy it. Yeah.
It's still very enjoyable.
Admittedly, that like the oldest film I would say I really enjoy still, Metropolis. That's even slower than 2001.
Really?
Yeah, and I find that difficult to watch again. It's got some great visuals in it, but it's silent film world. It's like people running around, with their hands in.
Doing a lot of emoting.
Emoting physically, and just pauses on something. We got it. Move on now. Go on. We know what you're trying to achieve. Do it. Have you come across the fact that there's a sequel
to 2001: Space Odyssey?
Yeah.
No, I have not. Mustn't be very good.
The year we made contact.
Okay.
I think it's getting a little bit more of a critical. What's the word called when it's looked at again? People have looked at it again and gone, actually.
Critical review, like just
reevaluation.
Reevaluation, yeah.
It stars Roy Schneider from Jaws.
Okay, yeah.
John Lithgow.
No,
okay. Female actress Helen British.
Gosh.
No, I
Helen Mirren.
Pardon?
Helen Mirren.
Helen Mirren.
Okay,
well,
nice. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I got an actress.
It's got quite an interesting cast in it, and I think it was made in the 80s.
Okay.
So a good decade and a half between the two. The special effects are fantastic.
Is it another stress on the visual effects? As much?
No, not. There's some good stuff in it, but it's not as slow. It's an 80s film. It's got a little bit more pacing. There is more conflict. You've got. I think something else happens at Jupiter after Dave
goes through the portal.
Goes through that stuff. They want to send another mission there, but the only ship that's near enough ready is a Russian ship, and they send some Americans along with the crew, and there's conflict there.
Okay.
I think
in the first one, there's a lot of because there's like they really stress the point.
Yeah.
Firstly, everyone's a doctor in space apparently, and then just of course.
You have to study to a certain level to go out there. You
go to space. Very elitist. But there's like the Russian. You're talking to Russians, and like, oh, you must come meet us in Russia, and like, I think it's a very optimistic view of the world, and like, everyone's cool. The world is all open and free.
I think that was subtext of the fact that it wouldn't be easy for him to go to Russia, wasn't it?
I think I was there. I thought they were talking to the guy who was Russian. He's like, oh yeah, it's all right. We'll see you. Like, we'll come visit you in wherever in Russia. And it will be good. I thought it felt optimistic, personally, but maybe I was wrong.
Yeah, but with 2010, there is a conflict. There is
that Russian-American conflict.
Yeah, and it's happening back on. It escalates on Earth, so it affects tensions on the spaceship. There's some really good stuff where they dock with Discovery, their spaceship.
Okay.
Really nice model work on that. If you have time,
I might consider it. I
might look for it, but. It kind of gives it more of an end. Okay. I think you would like that more.
A bit more. Well, I didn't mind the ending. Yeah. It's like I like the idea of the ending was fine. Like the concept it was trying to do, but it was just so slow. Anyway, we've lingered on that, but it's good. It's good to discuss it. So, what other media have you consumed apart from our homework, Mark?
Well, I did intend to go and watch
Fantastic
Four, but I didn't get a chance to.
That's okay.
But the other
busy
night,
lives.
Sorry?
We have busy lives.
Busy lives, yes.
It's hard to get everything in.
I'm hoping still to get in there before I go on holiday.
Okay. When is your holiday?
The week after next.
Okay. Well, fine.
So what I did, I sat and watched a film I hadn't seen in a while, which is Quatermass and the Pit. Now, interestingly enough, 1967.
Oh my gosh, these are really old films.
Yeah. We've got
Quatermass and the Pit, you said?
Yes.
Let me Google that, because I have literally no idea.
I would be surprised if you did. the overall thing with
yes, go on. Give me your
Quatermass
synopsis.
himself is Bernard Quatermass is the character. He's a professor with the British rocket team.
Rocket team.
Not team. I can't remember what. But it's some sort of department in part of the British government. Is the rocket?
The British Aeronautical Group or whatever.
Yeah, but it's all about rockets and things. So he's a professor of physics, and he's heavily involved there. There's been several different films starring this character. It was originally a BBC drama. The first one was the Quatermass Experiment, which was about an astronaut coming back from space, and he transforms into this alien over time.
Oh, okay.
And I don't remember a lot about the story there, just some visuals in my mind. But it was shown in like 6 episodes. It was performed live as a play. There's only 2 episodes of it that were recorded. The rest have gone to... But the stories are still there.
Okay.
That got made into a film as well in the cinema. There was Quatermass 2, which was... it was about aliens taking over a British research base.
Okay.
But subtly, gas monsters, I think they were. And there's some really, for the 1950s, really quite horrible ideas in there. Horrible visuals and stuff.
Visuals, yeah, gory stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, it was filmed as a BBC series, 6 episodes, then got made into a film later on. Quatermass in the Pit, where we get to, was the 3rd of these stories. That was done in the same way, made by the BBC, 6 episodes. I believe they're all been recorded, so you can still watch them, but they're filmed live.
Okay.
So any kind of mistakes that happen during those... But what I'm talking about is going to be the 1967 Hammer film version of it. Now the writer, the author, Nigel Keane, did all the stories for these, and he was very good at taking what it turns out story ideas of the time and turning them into stories, which in these cases were science fiction. And
turning real life scenarios into a science fiction equivalent, basically.
And I find it quite interesting, having watched this film, I did a little bit of a read up on it and stuff, and a lot of this was to do with race riots in London.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. Maybe I'll tell the story and come back round to that, because it'll make more sense of it.
Okay.
The main story is that people are working on a building site of an extension of an underground. It's called Hobbs End, so it's fictional. And while they're digging, they come across some skulls, human skulls. So digging has to stop, and they bring in, department...
the archaeologist.
Archaeologist type to come and have a look at it. And they start digging, and the builders are all hanging around waiting for something to happen. And what they find, these skulls are 5 million years old. 5 million years old? Yeah. They're quite large foreheads and stuff like that. And whilst they're digging further to try and find more human of these remains, they come across something that appears to could be a bomb.
Okay.
So the military then have to come in and have to start digging around this and investigating it. And as they're digging, they realise that it's not magnetic.
Okay,
it's metal, but it just slides.
The magnet thing just slides off.
Yeah, slides off. They try and cut into it. It won't cut with even the hottest tool. And they finally end up digging start digging out more of it, and they realise it doesn't look like a German bomb. Bear in mind, this is 1960, so the thought is it's a leftover from World War II. So they call in the rocket team to have a look at it.
Just getting in more departments. I like the idea. Every department. It's a very British thing. Get every department in.
Now, Quatermass happens to be there because he was at that point talking to Colonel Breen, who was the army guy that's
dealing with
it. So he gets to go and have a look at it, and it's all a little bit weird. And the character of Quatermass is quite curious and interested in things, and they realise that it's what he believes is not of this earth. And he talks to the paleontologist guy, and they talk about the skulls, and it gets into this thing. They realise they believe it's something else.
Yeah.
The army guy is still of that mindset of no, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, couldn't believe it, kind of thing.
And then they finally find that there's a skull that's tucked into the machine, into this thing.
Yeah.
So how did that get there, kind of thing?
Yeah.
If it was a bomb that came down after these 5 million year old creatures, it couldn't have happened. The skull would have been shattered. If it crashed.
Just everything would have been destroyed. I get that.
So they begin investigating around the area of it, and they find out that there's been a lot of weird sightings over history, and they do some research and find that they keep seeing this devil-like creature with 2 horns, and they continue investigating it, and they finally get inside this thing, having dug it completely out, and somebody a guy's brought in to do some drilling really hard, the hardest drill bit they can get, and it doesn't work, and this horrible noise comes out of this machine at that point, and they stop digging, and the guy has to come out because he's shaking and he's got his head like
he's all distraught and stuff.
And when they come back out, he comes out and they go in to have a look, and they find that there is a hole there, but he swears that he didn't drill that, nothing would
cut it.
And then suddenly this whole thing starts to crack and fall apart, and behind it are glass pods, and in each of these pods are what look like locusts, giant.
Ooh, that sounds horrid.
Yeah. They managed to take those out, and the paleontologist guys tries to recover bits and stuff like that. Anyway, I'm getting in too much detail here.
That's fine.
They realise that these are the aliens. Now, Quatermass believes that they could come from Mars, and this is the thing during the watching when it says, well, why has he decided that's where they're from?
Yeah.
It could be anywhere. But anyway, maybe I missed a small point or something. And they continue investigating the ship, and at some point the technician who was doing the drilling comes back to the site to take his equipment away, and while he's in there using his screwdriver, the lights go out, and there's this horrible background noise, a bit like what you're talking about with the
obelisk on the moon. Yeah.
And he runs out, and then screaming and shouting, and there's paper flying everywhere, cables are jingling and moving around, things are floating and stuff, and it's just chaos. They follow him where he runs off, basically, and wherever he's going there's this great wind blowing up things and moving things around, and he ends up going to a church and having a mental breakdown, basically.
Oh my god.
Now this goes back to this idea of there being, malevolent spirits or something around it, and then they finally realise that they can use some technology that they've been developing in the paleontology field, where they can read brain waves. So they go back to the site and put this on, and they read. It ends up being one of the Barbara, who's one of the assistants. She's the most sensitive to it. She puts it on, and she goes all crazy. But their equipment reads this visual.
Oh, okay.
And it's a visual of all hundreds of thousands of these creatures running around, killing each other.
Okay.
And it's interpreted by Quatermass as this is a race. They're getting rid of.
Do you like a class war?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, but it is about race. It's they're getting rid of the lower species. So
okay, so it's like a cleansing kind of thing.
They're cleansing. That's the word exactly. So it's a race cleansing. They're getting rid of those without the correct genetic measures. And so he presents. Before he presents that, they discuss the fact that what's probably been happening with these aliens is they've been taking humans back to their planet and evolving them. Creating genetic mutations of them, which are higher intelligence that can hopefully be a better version of themselves. And that's why they're with these ones with these big brains. And this is the indication being that where what we've evolved from, these creatures of water. So they present this to the military and the ministers of that are relevant in the government, and they poo-poo it. Because the military guy again says this is nonsense.
It's nonsense,
It's propaganda made up by the Nazis because it's towards the end of the war. They want
to. He's just ardent in his ideas. Yeah.
So the ministry have been wanting to allow the media to have a look at it to calm people down about it. So they set up some TV cameras and stuff, and Quatermass and his colleagues are all a bit panicked about what if something happens, because people have evolved from these creatures, or the influence of these creatures has come with us as well. And when they get down there, there's a film crew outside of the tube, and they're connecting up huge cables to nearby, and it sets off this. People are all trying to start filming it and stuff, but then weird things happening again. Things flying around. The spaceship starts glowing. Power goes off everywhere, and people start running around like mad. Like a stampede to get out of the station, and everybody's rioting in the streets around them. It gets bigger and bigger.
Yeah, it just goes out of hand.
The paleontologist Dr. Rooney seems to be unaffected by it, and he comes across Quatermass and kind of practically slaps him in the face to try and knock him out of it. He talks to him about, remember who you are, and Quatermass kind of comes out of this trance and explains what he was feeling, and he's being led to kill all things that aren't pure like himself.
Oh, okay.
So that would mean anybody that wasn't directly evolved from these species, or any, because they could hear some cats and dogs being killed and stuff like that. So, and they have to find a way to stop this thing. The next thing there's this massive vision of this locust in the air, and they realise that this is something that the focal point for the energy that's being released. So they notice that there's a crane nearby, so they go to the crane, the idea being to earth it somehow, have some metal go into water or whatever. Yeah. They were both meant to go up there, but then their assistant, the Barbara before, turns up, and she's using her powers to try and stop them. Okay. And Dr. Ronnie tells Bernard to deal with her. So he goes there, and he honestly, this has got to be the 1960s, because he's shaking this woman around like she's insane or whatever. Okay, yeah. Really bizarre scene.
She's in hysteria.
Yeah, she's in hysteria. It's like, no, everybody else has got the same thing. You were in it a minute ago. Yeah. He ends up punching her in the face.
Oh, wow.
Properly knocks her out. In the meantime, the paleontologist guy climbs the crane and manages, by going out to the end of the crane, this doesn't make any sense at this point.
Because until now, it's all made perfect sense.
Yeah. Manages to get this crane to fall into this alien, and it blows up. And the next thing you know, it's Quatermass standing there, and the woman...
Everyone snapped out of it.
Yeah, everybody snapped out of it, and it's just quiet and calm. And that's where it ends.
Wow.
There's no after. There's no afterwards. Oh well, I'm glad you sorted that out, Quatermass, or oh, glad that's all over. It just feels like a bit like, right, okay,
back to
that happened.
Yeah. So there's a commentary on social classes.
Yeah, I think so. Something like that, or racial class, or perceived racial classes.
Okay.
So going back to that point, at the time there were sort of race riots from immigrants coming into London. And I think that sparked his idea for this idea of people going into frenzy. So it was white people attacking black communities, supposedly. Okay. Because they're not the same kind of thing. And I think that's where his idea came from. Okay.
Overall, did you enjoy the film though, overall? Was it as you remembered it probably?
Yeah, it is definitely a nostalgia kick. It is of its time. It's very much, elderly British person.
Yeah, like a naval general.
Yeah, I
know. I was educated in Egypt, don't you know? That kind of thing.
You had, the doffing of cap type characters in the guys that were the the workmen and stuff like that. There was definitely a hierarchical class society, very visual there.
In there.
You then had the soldiers. You had a team of guys that did a lot of the first testings and stuff like that, and they were all like, "All right, mate, I'm low-level soldiering. I'll do what my
They made it pretty
tells
clear who everyone was.
Yeah, everybody's got a place.
Position. Yeah, it was very clear. Okay.
One thing that I was excited by is I recognised one of the actors. I've seen this film many, many times growing up. It's 9 years older than me. Mm-hmm. I grew up with it being on television quite frequently. Loved watching it. And it's only the first time that I realised that the guy that plays the colonel, the main... Oh, by the way, he gets frazzled. He's standing near the alien
So he gets...
spaceships. Yeah, he gets melted. which is very interesting because of another character he played in an Indiana Jones film.
Oh, really?
He was in the Last Crusade. He was the main bad guy.
The German guy?
I don't know if he was German. He was Walter Donnelly. He was working with the Nazis to find the Grail. And he's the one that tries the cup and shrivels up.
He goes like ages like crazy quick. Basically.
Yeah, really crazy quick. And it's just like, that's 2 movies now where he's
melted and
destroyed. I think what was interesting seeing it this time was just seeing how well made it was, actually. Okay. Yes, the effects are janky. Yes, there are, when I was saying all these things where things are flying around, a lot of times you can see that there's a cable being pulled by a bit of string. At one point there's a barrel that was just spinning, it wasn't moving anywhere but on its...
on the axis.
On the axis, yeah. It didn't move any other way. It was
really
weird.
Did that detract from it, do you think?
It didn't take away from... There's some real tense moments, with the way people are reacting to this mental
assault
from it. I think it was described actually as quite terrifying at the time.
Okay.
In 1967, they haven't had anything really that scary, but I think there's some tension in there. It does feel of its time. It does feel a little bit British society, hierarchy of Britain really comes out and clear. And I don't know if I hadn't seen it, if I'd enjoyed it in the same way.
Okay.
Because it is slow.
If you come in from fresh eyes.
Yeah.
Well, what you described there, to be honest, from what I've just heard, there's more story than 2001: A Space Odyssey. There's more. It sounds like there's more story. There's more revealing. There's more dialogues to be had. It sounds like there is a big, unless it's like a 12-hour film. It sounds like there's more in there.
There's stuff of them exploring some of these old houses that are above the site. It gets a bit creepy. There's creepy music there. There's a policeman that comes with them that just wigs out and runs off.
It sounds interesting, actually. I might watch it. You've described it in a way that has piqued my interest, to be honest.
I would, in terms of other Quatermass, there's a 1970s one that was only ever a TV series. It was on ITV. They kind of got a story from Nigel Keane, but I've not seen that one. I think what I read about it is something to do with space hippies.
Okay.
Or hippies on Earth that are wanting to be space hippies. Mm-hmm. And I believe there's a version of one of the earlier Quatermass ones that was in the 90s with Jason Fleming, one of the guys from Lock, Stock and Two Smoking Barrels in it. But I don't remember having ever seen it.
I think you described it pretty well there. So overall, a good enjoyment. So, well, as you know, my thing I said I'd watch this week is The Diplomat. I also said I'd play Star Wars: The Fallen Order. I didn't really get around to much of that. I did have a bit of a go. I think it's got some glitchiness to it on the PlayStation 5.
Yeah.
The first one, and it enrages me. I don't mind a game being hard, but a game being glitchy.
Yeah,
no, it's frustrating.
Well, that's the second of
the first.
Yes.
The
first one.
First of the two. I don't know what it's called. I haven't got that yet. I think I've got both. But yes, I did start trying. It's good. It seems like a fine game. I thought I'd get more. But The Diplomat. So, I finished season 2.
Yeah.
And it gets a little contrarian. It's like, oh, okay. Oh, yeah, sure. You're doing a little... Yeah. The disbelief is slowly losing its suspension. But at the end... because they leave on a cliffhanger, they go even more extreme, but somehow very okay with that.
I can't remember. I've actually seen the first season.
So it's all about, I don't really want to spoil it too much, but it's about the US Embassy ambassador who is potentially up for being vice president. She's not really keen on being vice president, but she kind of uncovers a big secret within the UK government, basically. Yeah. And then she keeps finding out who's involved. And in season 2, we find out even more people are involved. And it gets even more crazy. And then by the end of season 2, something even crazier happens. But it gets to a point where you're like, okay, this is where we're at now. And I'm very okay with that. And I think actually it's really good. I think it's really well done. I think all the characters feel very believable. I think the Prime Minister is an absolute idiot, but feels very believably an absolute... He could be there where he is, but he's the worst of humans. And the Foreign Secretary is pretty good. He feels like what a Foreign Secretary should feel like, and he feels like the guy who should be the Prime Minister.
Yeah.
But because he's too good, he doesn't get it. He doesn't. He's not as arrogant, kind of thing. It definitely has that feeling of like, which feels, I don't know, I feel like it, but like a lot of people in the background, the special advisors are actually doing a lot of the work, and the people that are unelected are doing a lot of these shady deals and stuff in the back channels, which probably feels like, it feels like maybe it's not how it actually is, but it feels like how it actually is.
Yeah, some footing in reality.
Something in reality. It felt real, and it felt like a lot of the time what they were saying felt genuine. And they go to the embassy, and the American embassy in the UK is like this crazy palace, or the resident of the ambassador is like this crazy palace, and it's like the biggest garden other than Buckingham Palace.
Oh, that if I remember correct, that was one thing I remember when we were watching. Was just the idea that palace would be commutable to the embassy to the embassy quite quickly. It's like that's. I
think it's okay.
They have to be like Buckingham Palace in the middle of London.
I think it is quite close to the middle of London. The idea is it's really, I really enjoyed it. I think it feels very real. Do you think the CIA person feels very real? The husband feels incredibly real. This guy who's like arrogant but charming, and he's like annoyingly charming, and I'm like, oh, he's annoyingly charming, isn't he? But he knows he's charming, and he knows he can do these things, but he went too far once, and now he's got to step back and all that jazz. I think it's a really good show. I think it's worth watching. There's a new season coming out this fall. That's why I imagine it's been recommended to me.
Autumn?
Yes, autumn. Sorry, I'm so used to Americanisms. Autumn. It'll come out later this year if you want to be like that. So yeah, I think that was. It's a really.
Have to go back to watch season 2.
It's really good.
We did enjoy season 1. It was just one of those.
It just disappears, right? Once you've watched it, and then season 2 is like 4 years later or whatever.
Yeah.
I think is it a BBC?
No, I think because it's Netflix. Isn't it?
What also I enjoy is they're not afraid to talk about the war in Ukraine. They very much say there is a war in Ukraine, and that's affecting our relationship with Russia. And a lot of other shows, I think, for some kind of level of time continuity, would be like, oh, that war in that vague place, but they're very specific. Like the war in Ukraine, and that has affected the US and Russia and UK relations.
Yeah, so
I think that was really refreshing.
Real world events.
Yeah, I think it does a lot.
Yeah, well, you certainly made me want to go back and have a look at it.
No, I would. I absolutely would. So that's what I've watched this week. I haven't got much, as you know. It's been a busy week for both of us.
Yeah.
So at least we got something out of it. Now the main bulk. We've been talking for an hour and a bit now already. But the main bulk of this episode was meant to be in our interviews to each other. We didn't really talk a lot about music. We talked about a lot of other things, but music wasn't spoken about. So we set ourselves even more homework. We did a lot for this podcast. We would each bring to the table one album, one song, and one movie score that we think are either the best or that people should know about. And I don't know if you want to go first or should I go first? I can always go
my
first.
Own thing, or
I think the whole list. I can go through mine first if you'd like.
Yeah, go.
So I think I'll start with the song, because I guess there's not much to the song. So my song is Thin Lizzy, The Boys Are Back in Town. So it's quite an old song. I don't like Thin Lizzy themselves, like a few other songs. They've got Whiskey in a Jar, and there's a few other songs they have.
Whiskey in a Jar is somebody else.
I thought it was Thin Lizzy. Oh gosh. They have a few other songs, but this song, so I think what makes it amazing for me is it's like nostalgia for a time that I never had. I don't know if that makes sense.
No, definitely. Yeah.
It's like, it's a real, in my mind, it's a real spring summer song, like We're Back Baby kind of vibes. Like when the kids are like, let's go, that kind of thing. It gives me that kind of vibe.
Yeah.
For then. And it's got a great riff with the like, and like, it's so good. And like, yeah, it makes me nostalgic for a time I never had. It makes me think of like drinks with the lads and like having a good time, maybe like a warm summer evening, kind of, with like fairy lights over top, and we're all drinking, having a good, it's got that kind of celebratory feel to it. And I think it's every summer I crack it out. It feels like I'm getting my shorts out for summer when I crack that song out. It's getting into the loft, grabbing all the summer clothes out, and like Thin Lizzy drops off the top of that bag, and it's so good, and it's fantastic. It's definitely nostalgic for a time I never had. I really feel it every time. It hits me really hard. So I guess that's my song. Do you have any thoughts on the song?
I mean, it was a song that was played a lot when I was growing up, because it was released in 1976, the year of my birth. That was released.
Oh, really?
So I lived that time period that you're talking of. I would say that there was a time where I really enjoyed it. I think it's a song that for me has died.
Okay, too much. Is it overplayed?
Overplayed. I think there's a lot of stuff that I listen to that I've heard so many times. I know there's the most famous one of this is that Killers track, Mr. Brightside.
Mr. Brightside, yeah.
That has been played so much.
Well, my one,
taken any fun out of that.
My one is Get Lucky by Daft Punk and Pharrell Williams. That was played to death when it came out. And like, I think I was in that era of like, because I was probably a teenager, and like when you're a teenager, music's like, it is more, definitely. And I think I was just sick to death of it, and I think that influenced more because I had that higher emotional state. I hated it more for being on too much, and then I think that stuck with me. So I think there are songs that are overplayed, and I think it ruins them, which is sad. And I think for a lot of people I know, they know of the song, but they don't like. It's not one that's brought out, things like Come On Eileen and ABBA. Yeah, and ABBA's great. Waterloo. Whew, what a song! But people know those ones. Yeah. But I think Thin Lizzy, The Boys Are Back, is like so underrated, and I think it makes it a bit more special. There's like this gem that like. Well, you say it's
underrated, but I knew it had been in some films. I had a look at which ones it was, and it's been in The Knight's Tale, the first Expendables, and probably a large thing, even though it wasn't in Toy Story. I think it was used in advertising, as the toys are back in time. And so they would play Boys Are Back in Time.
Yeah, back in time. Back in time.
Time travel version.
Okay, I didn't know. But it's a great song.
I think it's in the collective consciousness, in that way. But yeah, I definitely feel like I don't get the same excitement I got from it.
Yeah, I guess also the thing about nostalgia I've never had, right? It's like that thing of like, Make America Great Again, or like Britain as it was. It's for a time that never really existed, right?
Yeah, and you
lived it, so you're like, it never was like that. But in my mind, it's like, we'd all go, all the guys are getting their like tiny little car, and you go off on an adventure on the countryside or whatever.
But most of the time you've been working.
In reality,
and you've been looking forward to the weekend, and you might hear that song at a club or something. Yeah,
it's actually like I agree. It's for a time that, and I'm glad to identify in my mind that like I know it doesn't exist as a time, but I like the idea of that what it conjures up in my mind. Okay, so that's my song.
Should I do my song then?
I think we should. I think it should be better if we go through the whole list.
Okay, fine.
That's what I think. Okay, you can get all the talking out, I guess, perhaps. So my album is Good Kids 4 by Good Kid. Now, Good Kid, I had to put them as the album because it actually really is the band. They are my favourite band of all time, and I really struggle to have favourites of all time because my opinions change a lot. Things come along, but really, Good Kid have been, since I discovered them, my favourite band of all time. In fact, last year, me and Jess went to see them in Bristol, and they did like a pirate theme one, and the very next day I proposed to Jess. So
there's a
deep connection there. But I mean, all their songs are just, every single one of their songs is phenomenal. They have this. We sent these lists to each other beforehand, so I assume you've listened to them.
Yes, I have.
There's a lot of guitar riffy kind of pop. It's indie pop, really.
It's indie pop.
It's indie pop, and I love indie pop. It's just phenomenal. All the riffs are great. The lead singer has a phenomenal voice. When we saw him live, it's just crazy how good he is. And they've got a lot of energy.
What was your first... How did you come across them first?
So, it goes back a long time. So it goes back to when I was in uni. There's a band called AJR, who are in America. And they did some kind of... I'd call it like the gateway to this kind of... They did a bit... It wasn't really indie pop as much as like kind of an alternative pop kind of thing. They did a lot of songs. They did a song called Burn Down the House. I think that was my first entry into this kind of thing. And then I listened to a lot of AJR, and then Good Kid just turned up on my feed one day, and I was like, what is this? This is amazing. I think it was either Mimi's Delivery Service or Summer was the first song I heard of theirs, and I was like, this is crazy good. And I always get, when you get a band, you're like, this song is amazing. I really hope all their other stuff is. And then sometimes you get disappointed because you're like, the rest of it, nothing is like.
One hit wonders.
Yeah, one hit wonders. But like every single song, and maybe it's their detriment, is every song sounds like every other song. Because Jess, when we went to the concert, was like, oh, it's really good they played that song 3 or 4 times. And I was like, no, they were all different songs. Every single one was different. But I like that sound. I guess I like it that they are similar because I love that sound a lot. All of them sound like that, so it's great. And and then the energy they bring, and I think they're really fun guys generally. And the lyrics sometimes really get to me. So like, Tell Me You Know, there's like a whole bit of like, he kind of like drops off a map because he's not feeling great, and it's like, tell me you understand. It's like cool for me to just like disappear, basically. And things like Dance Class, Mimi's Delivery Service, because that's a reference to Kiki's Delivery Service, which is Studio Ghibli film, and it's all about like cheering up a friend. So good. Oh no, it's all good. It's all really good stuff. So like, it just gets me every time, and I think it's really worth people listening to. And I wish more people listened to them, and I wish they got like in the charts and were like crazy big, because then they would tour the UK more. In fact, this year, later this month, we're going to go see them in London, but we have to go all the way to London to go see them, which is a bit of a ball ache. They are Canadian.
Yeah, they're Canadian.
I thought they were English, and I thought, because I just saw on the off chance, like
Well, I mean, kind of English anyway.
Yeah, I know what you mean. But like, literally, like, I was like, I love this band, and then like, I looked up, just like, are they doing gigs? And they're like touring the UK. Just coincidentally, when I looked, like, oh, they must be a UK band because they're just touring the UK. And I bought tickets to Bristol, and just by sheer coincidence, they were just there at the right time. It felt like the universe aligned when I wanted to go see them. They were there, and it was a really good gig. It was a pirate themed gig because beforehand, the lead singer also has another band where they do sea shanties. So like, they had the warm-up act, and they had the warm-up act, which was then doing sea shanties in pirate gigs. They'd rented pirate costumes and stuff. Oh, it was just phenomenal, and like, they mean a lot, and it's really good stuff. So that's why they're my favourite album / band. Do you have thoughts on it? And I will judge you if you say they're bad.
Remember my rating system?
Yeah. Oh gosh.
Love it, like it, met it, hate it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I found it a meh.
That's fair enough.
It didn't. I could see what they were trying to do. I could hear bands like The Strokes. They had that good thing. The riffs,
I like their riffs. Their riffs are really good.
There's some good stuff in there. I think the song I liked the most was Dance Class.
Dance Class is really good. It's kind of a bit soppy.
Towards the end.
It's a bit soppy, I think, as well.
It's interesting you were saying about Jess finding it like, oh, did they play that song numerous times?
Yeah.
Because there were some songs that I'm not being...
No, I totally understand that.
I was like, which one was this one again?
I totally get that.
Moved through it like that, and I was like...
But that's what's great for me, because I love the sound. They all sound the same, so it's amazing.
I was talking about this with my daughter, about this idea that when you listen to music and you don't get it, you know that there's somebody somewhere that's the biggest fan ever. Absolutely loves it, and you don't, but that person has got something out of it, and that's great.
Yeah.
But for me,
yeah. I think also sometimes me as a person, I sometimes like things that not everyone else knows about or likes. I like the idea that it's like the community is small, or like it's something special to me, and perhaps not to the masses, because then it feels more personal.
So if they became massive, you would immediately stop liking them?
I think I would still like them, because hopefully they would tour more. It'd be easy to get tickets. I could see. I know they're doing really.
Yeah, they would come around here.
They'd be bigger, and I think that's so. AGR, who I said was the gateway to this whole thing. They did a UK tour for a bit. We saw them in Southampton, which I think was actually, in my mind, was one of the bigger events of my life. It's crazy to say that, but it was seeing them. But then they just haven't come to the UK again. But they're so big, but they just don't, because they do stadium tours in the US. And so, I'm not going to pay to go see them in the US. And it kind of soured my feelings towards AJR a bit. Because I don't want to go, and they do some really cool visuals as well, apparently, in their shows. And it's like a theatrical thing more than just a performance. I'd love to see it, but I'm not going to go to America to see it. So it's like, well, that's that.
That's that. Did you know that they were quite big with Fortnite fans?
I'm not surprised, to be honest.
There was, I think, 2 of their songs were the Fortnite fans campaigned for 2 of their songs, or some of their songs to be included in it.
I'm not surprised. Things like Mimi's Delivery Service, Premiere, not dance, called Summer, and a few other ones.
Yeah.
They're in that sound group, sound bubble.
Cool.
Yeah, and then for the score, I thought long and hard about the score. So this week I went and listened to. Basically, I looked at the top 10, or even top 50 musical scores of all time. I listened to them all. I listened to Chasing Cornfields from the Interstellar. I listened to Jurassic Park. I listened to Schindler's List.
Schindler's List.
Yeah,
that's.
I have some opinions.
Yeah.
I have some opinions about it. So actually, this is going to sound controversial. Well, I'll talk about it later. But so I listened to Star Trek the movies.
Yeah.
Real good. I think I like Groundswell. There's a lot of trumpets going and bringing in.
Because I've got a favourite out of the Star Trek.
I think there's the Entrepreneurs or the Men of Enterprise.
Right.
Is the best song on the
new
Star Trek.
The new Star Trek.
Yeah.
There's some good stuff there.
Because it has the tune, the very distinct tune.
Yeah.
I forget it off the top of my head, but it's phenomenal. The Groundswell. They're and you can, in my mind, I think this is what I don't like about Interstellar. I enjoy the songs, but I need the visuals as well. I need the grandioseness from the Interstellar soundtrack to get I need to be in a giant theatre where I can feel the atmosphere. But that's not good for me, because I think if it doesn't translate to headphones, it's not good. The Star Trek one does. I can imagine the Enterprise there, the big ship, and I'm like, oh my goodness, it's there, and it feels amazing. Some other ones, How to Train Your Dragon, Test Drive. That was Test Drive. That's one of the songs. Is there?
Oh, I see.
You know, the classic. You know, he's there flying for the first time. That's phenomenal. Merry-Go-Round of Life, which is from House Moon Castle, another one. But I went in the end. I think it's so underrated. I went with To the Spaceport by James Newton Howard from Treasure Planet, because it's just a banger, and it's got that groundswell. It starts light. It starts that kind of mysteriousness, that kind of exploration, and then it grows, and you see the ship, and it's like whoa, and it's phenomenal. I listened to it several times whilst going through this process of deciding which one. I think again it's underrated, and not many people know about it. And like we've said, I like that kind of so it's a bit special to me because it's not for everyone, and it just means a lot. I think also I watched the film as a kid, and there's that era, like Tarzan as well, is in that kind of, in my mind, in that era. And Tarzan had a phenomenal soundtrack as well.
Oh, that was Paul. No,
I don't know who it was, but he did a great.
Phil Collins.
Phil Collins, yes.
Yeah.
Phil Collins. So that's my one, and I highly recommend people listening to it. Did you? I assume you listened to it because you messaged me saying that was a great choice.
Again, I really like that. Yeah, and it's a great film as well. And that sparked me thinking that we should at some point do some commentaries, because Treasure Planet is a hidden gem in the Disney.
It really is.
Yeah.
It's so underutilized. And they're like, it's a film we have. It's better than a lot of your films, actually.
Yeah. Have you ever also Atlantis?
Atlantis is quite good.
Is it called Atlantis?
Well, the one that go underwater, and then go find the hidden.
Some fantastic designs in that.
Beautiful
to look at.
No, there's a lot of those underrated ones. I don't know if they just didn't sell well, or they think people don't like them, but it's so good, and it's got mystery, and the visuals are beautiful.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of the ideas in it, because I think a lot of the ideas are just hidden, but really good.
It ties it for me. Because it's Treasure Island is the story it's based on, and it goes back to that idea with Master and Commander being, a Star Trek ship. Just on the sea, and with Treasure Island being these pirate ships in space. And like you said, the score is just fantastic. Really captures what it's, the visuals are doing. I do like that one.
Oh, I'm glad. I'm glad you agree on one of the choices of mine.
No, there's nothing wrong with it.
No, that's fine.
I think that's highly personal, the fact that it's been overkill. I used to appreciated it more, I think.
So I guess let's go on to your stuff then. So,
well, I chose for my single "Mogwai Fear Satan" by Mogwai.
Yes.
Now,
can I make a first comment?
Yeah.
It's 15 minutes long.
16
minutes long. Why are you making me watch drawn out things or listen to drawn out things this week? It's been a theme.
It's not. I don't think it was purposely a theme. I think it's just the fact there are some things out there that are long and need to be appreciated for the things they do with that time. So this was back in 1997. The album.
1 year old.
Wow. I was introduced to Mogwai as a band. They're a Scottish post-rock band by my friends Dan and Kirsty. Cash Office Kirsty was her name.
Okay.
Because she ran the cash office in the Virgin Megastores in Camden, where I worked. And it was a period of time where I would help out in the cash office when she had a day off. You know, people were allowed that. So I would go in there, and I'd probably have about an hour to get all the cashing up done for the week. And there was always a little CD player in there, and you could bring your own music in or grab the stuff from the stock and just play it, which is a great way of listening to new music coming out.
No, I'm
you
sure
didn't have to invest in it.
Yeah.
But Dan and Kirsty both kept banging on about Mogwai, and it was the album called Young Teen that had just come out, and so I gave it a go, and it was my first kind of foray into mainly instrumental music that wasn't classical.
No, that's like I noticed about it. Yeah,
because they don't tend to have vocals. If they do, you can barely hear what they're saying or what's meant.
It's
to
not
be
really
saying.
vocals. It's more for the instrumental idea.
Yeah, the sound of their voices going over something. It might be something quietly mumbled or something that's more. I think there's one track that they just use a conversation. I think it's a genuine conversation between them. They'd had some sort of disagreement between the band members, and there was an argument that was going to end up possibly with the band breaking up, and somehow the conversation had been recorded, and it was one of the guys talking to the other one saying about, oh God, we've got to do something, or what we're going to do, well, maybe if you go and talk. Anyway, they put that into a track.
Okay.
But it's just background, it's to the music itself. And so for me, the whole album's fantastic, but it's the final track on the album, Mogwai Fear Satan, which they really show their metal, as it were. As you said, 16 minutes long, and it takes drums, guitars, and a flute to drive this thing for 15 minutes. And from my mind, I can listen to that at bedtime. I can listen to that driving. I fully invest into it and feeling the journey of the song as it goes along. It rises up several times and then drops, rises up. There's practically a flute solo at one point, and of course there is a bit of distortion at the end, and I know that puts a lot of people off a lot of Mogwai stuff. So they get to that point where it's just like guitars going. So for me, it embodies a time and place of where I was having a lot of fun as a young man at that point.
Sounds like genuine nostalgia as well.
Yeah, genuine nostalgia. I was there. I was listening to this. And now I still listen to that song. It's a favourite for going to sleep to. I put it on.
Okay.
And usually
that's interesting for what I'm going to say about it. But
yeah. By the 16 minutes, I as long as I get to a certain point before those jangly, noisy, stretched out guitar riffs come in, I can go to sleep to it.
Okay. So my thoughts. So I listened to the whole thing. I think I listened to it twice. It was good. Yeah. I liked it as an idea. I found that for 15 minutes, it doesn't really crescendo. It felt very, in the kind of intensity levels.
Yeah.
It stayed very monotone. So there wasn't like crescendos. It didn't feel like there were choruses and verses. Like, I'd like a bit of up and down perhaps in my song. It felt very level. So like I was enjoying it, but I was like, are we going to build? Are we going to build to a thing? Are we going to then have the drop of like or like the release? And we never really got that. For a 15-minute song, felt quite surreal. So it felt in a way more like a score or like the background bit to a conversation.
Yeah,
which is fine. It's
which
good.
Which is interesting because Mogwai have gone on to do a lot of soundtracks now.
I can see that. Yeah. I can see because it's a lot of like if you're having a conversation, you've got to have that background music. I could feel that in there because it doesn't build up. It doesn't feel like it would.
They have got other songs that really go up.
Okay.
Really go down and then suddenly go up. They're the worst one. You can listen to a couple of their tracks to try to sleep to like I do, and you're all right for 80% of the song, and then suddenly it goes
explodes.
up to 10.
Okay.
From 1 or 2 to 10. And it's the kind of thing. If you're playing it and you're trying to sleep to it, it's just suddenly being woken up by incredibly loud.
Yeah. All of a sudden, just goes off. Yeah.
But if you listen to it during the day or awake, it's fantastic to feel that moment happen. But sorry,
that's fine. That's good. No, I agree.
Okay.
So your next one is your album.
Yeah, my album choice. It gone for Funeral by Arcade Fire.
Mm-hmm. I think it's quite popular. I was looking at the view levels, and all of their songs in this album are near in the over 1 million, tens of millions in a lot of the cases.
And that's one of the things I really like about it is there aren't many albums where I feel like I love every single song.
It really felt like looking through it. It looked like nearly every song was in those high levels.
There's something in there that I really love in each song. There's something I like about each song. Ironically enough, they are Canadian.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's very weird, isn't it? Gosh.
We both came up with Canadian artists. Now it has another story behind it. When I came across it, my university friend Tim, he had a 30th birthday.
Mm-hmm.
I travelled up to go to this party. He had quite a large thing. His parents were farmers, so quite a large space out in the back. And it was a really good party. Had a really nice time. I was probably one of the last ones up, and I was sat having a last drink, and I noticed this beautiful album cover on an album next to me, and it was Arcade Fire's Funeral, and it's hand drawn, with florals and things like that.
It's like a quill almost. It looked like a quill.
It looked like a quill, but it was very. It was illustrated. It was
and I did think of it. It looked quite striking when I looked at the album cover.
So I had a music machine next to me of some sort, and I put it on and played it, and I listened to the whole thing all the way through.
Oh, that night?
That night.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. This would have been like 2 in the morning. I can't remember exactly. It was dark. A lot of people had gone to bed on floors in the house, and I just listened to this whole album, and I just found it beautiful.
Yeah.
Really lovely. And there's energy in it, and there's quiet moments across the whole album. And for me, I went to sleep that night with it playing in my head, and then vomited first thing in the morning when I woke up because I was so hammered. But I went and got that album almost instantly because I had to listen. This was before Spotify. You can't just
stream it. You've got to go get
I've got
the
to
physical
find
media.
the physical media.
I think it's more special. I think there's something kind of crazy about it. I've got to go find the song.
That's something I missed. That hearing a song on the radio and going, what was that? And then spending weeks trying to find it.
Yeah. No, I can imagine.
Now you just go,
you Shazam and just like, there it is. There it is. Yeah, no, I agree. There's something special about it. So at some cost bias, it makes it even more thrilling when you find it. You're like, that's the song. Oh my god. Yeah.
So
I like how both of our albums, actually, just as a commentary, I like both of our albums are like deeply personal on some level to us, actually, which is really interesting. Actually, I guess that it shows how music is so interlinked with emotions, or like how we're feeling at the time, or like what it means.
Yeah. And it has, definitely Arcade Fire. It's another album that I regularly listen to, or I can just literally dip into a song in my Spotify playlist. It just comes on, and I'm like, yeah. And I'm taken back to that point of hearing it for the first time.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's good. It's good to invoke those emotions.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right. Well,
I did listen to.
Sorry.
So I was going to say I did listen to it. It was good.
Yeah.
It gave me a lot of Kings of Leon vibes, I think.
Oh, Kings of Leon's a different vibe at all. I got that kind of country bluesy feel.
Oh, really? It definitely had some somber tones in it.
Yeah.
I'd call it like a kind of a sad rock or a moody rock, perhaps.
Yeah. I think I didn't know this until doing a little bit of look into it. The album, they had some the band members had some family deaths during the recording of it, and that influenced a lot of them.
You can feel that, definitely.
There's a lot
absolutely.
of sadness
feel there's a lot of sadness and a lot of somberness. I enjoyed it. It's not for me. If you hear Good Kid is all incredibly upbeat.
Yes,
I would say even the sad stuff is incredibly upbeat. So, I enjoyed it though. I enjoyed it. I can see why it's popular. It's not for me, but it was good. It was good. I can see the greatness in it.
Yeah.
So I fully endorse it as a recommendation.
My rating system, that's a love it for me.
Okay, that's a like. I think a like for me.
Right. Cool.
Then your score. Now, before you say your score, I've got to say, I this is great. I didn't know about this.
You didn't know about this?
No, I hadn't thought about this. Of course, I've seen the movies that it's from, but then I went back and listened to it, and I was like, this is phenomenal. And I listened to an original recording of this.
Yeah.
And it's old, and it sounded like it's done on a gramophone.
Yeah.
But it was great. And I listened to some of the newer versions of it, and you can hear, they still got the same bit. Oh, it's really good.
Yeah.
It's really good.
But that was a large part of my decision making. Once I got down to the fact that I wanted it to be this, and maybe I should say it for the viewer.
Do reveal it.
It's Godzilla.
Yes.
The soundtrack for Godzilla.
Well, the 1954 version.
Yes.
That's what you've written down.
But as you said, that there are other versions. So I spent an afternoon playing the different versions, saying which one is it that I want to share. Which one, there is that most recent one with the -1.
I think I listened to Godzilla main track or whatever.
I think it's a really polished version of it, really good, and nearly chose that one. And then it came down to the original. Let's go for that. And there are scratchy vinyl sounding versions of it. I
listened to like maybe 6 or 7 different versions. I listened to ones in like newer films. I watched the original. I watched a remastered. Yeah. Or listened to a remastered. They were all of them phenomenal. And each one version brought something new to the table. So some of them brought some chanting as well, like some vocal chanting and some like low drum, which isn't the original. And they all added their own
They all add something to it, yeah.
Which, like, some of them detract. Normally these things go in different directions or they detract in the original, but all of them just added something to it. Oh, it's just a really good sound.
Because it's this big noise, and it's emphasising that the terror of Godzilla.
The terror, absolutely, yes.
You can almost feel Godzilla walking towards you, knocking a building over, and it just there are certain film soundtracks that embody a character or embody a moment in a film, and I think it's such a solid piece of.
It's just a solid piece of music, yeah.
Yeah,
no, I totally agree.
Yeah, I don't think, and I know that I kept looking for it, and I didn't come across it, but I know that I think it might have been I want to say Beastie Boys, but it's parts of it have been used in.
I did also look for this. I was like, there must be a modern remix of this because it's such a good like tune.
Yeah.
I was like, this has to be everywhere, and I really struggled to find genuinely good remixes or reuses.
Yeah.
But I was like, there must be because
I'm certain that there's it must. I want to. Maybe I'll look and find for next week and find it. It might be Beastie Boys. What track is it? Interstellar. Not Interstellar. Intergalactic. It might be that. I'll have to go back and have a look. Because it's just so influential. And talking of looking, I was browsing for other Godzillas, and I came across a new band for myself, which was Fu Manchu. They do a song called Godzilla, and I really loved it. And I've started listening to some of their music. So win.
It's a win for everyone. Yeah. Exploring things. Great score. Great score.
Yes.
I was really pleased you brought that because I didn't really think about it until you brought it up. So.
Of the questions on music, the soundtrack was the hardest one to find.
It was the hardest for me as well.
There's so much to choose from.
So I looked up the top, like I said, top 50 or something like that.
Yeah.
And I did have to say, I think it's John Williams and Hans Zimmer are like the big ones. Mm-hmm. And I think Hans Zimmer, nothing wrong with I think Hans Zimmer's great. He's made some of the greatest songs. But I think to suggest that his collection of songs is vast, I think is actually a bit of a lie, because I listened to Schindler's List, and actually a lot of it just sounded like Harry Potter. Actually, it sounded like a proto Harry Potter. And I listened to Gladiator.
Oh, you're talking about John Williams.
Am I talking about John Williams? Do I mean Hans Zimmer or John Williams?
John Williams did Schindler's List, and I would say definitely with both John Williams and Hans Zimmer have a kind of stylistic.
Yeah, so what I found, it was really interesting going back and listening to them all. So whoever did them, I think it doesn't really matter. But Schindler's List sounded like a proto Harry Potter,
which makes sense because they're both John Williams.
And then Gladiator sounded very much like a proto Pirates of the Caribbean, which is very weird to say. But if you go back and listen,
I can see the Schindler's List
to Harry Potter.
Gladiator felt a bit more bombastic.
There's little bits in it. I was just like, this could be in a Pirates of the Caribbean. But it was very weird. I was very surprised to hear that. So actually, whoever it is who's done it, but it was clear that like the influence has continued.
Yes.
But then, like, of course, then you got complete, like, I think some of the Star Wars stuff and the Indiana Jones stuff, and then the Jurassic Park stuff. They've all got kind of similarities in them.
Yeah.
In their collective, and I think they're all Hans Zimmer at least.
No, they're all John Williams.
John Williams. Oh my gosh,
yeah,
I can't believe we're getting these two months.
You're absolutely right there. You got through. You know, the other day we were with some friends, and we're having difficulty trying to distinguish between Superman and Indiana Jones, as just to be able to hum along to it. And that's primarily because they're by the same composer.
Yeah. So I think the idea that they had this huge breadth of like styleability, or like this huge catalogue, you know, there's all these films. I'm like, well, they've kind of just flavoured each film a bit from their idea of music.
Yeah.
So I think that was interesting to see.
There's also this element of if you're using an orchestra and you're trying to provoke a certain kind of emotion, you're going to generate the same kind of music. There's going to be
I don't think that's the case, because then I can say that Star Wars sounds nothing like Harry Potter. But you've got to evoke the same emotions. Yeah. There's going to be sadness, joy, excitement, but they sound nothing alike. And I think it was just interesting to see that, you know, everyone claims these people to be like great, and they have done a lot of work, but to say that the breadth of work is so vast, when actually a lot of them sound very similar, well, I think is you know, it's a bit of a fallacy.
Some of the other stuff I was going to choose were some odder things that I like. There's a track which is mostly electronic kind of sounding stuff from the soundtrack of Buckaroo Bonanza Across the Eighth Dimension.
Okay.
That's a weird kind of film. It has its moments, but there are some bits where you can feel like it's a bit cheap. But it's the score. There's this one particular track which I absolutely love, which is the main theme, and it's used over the title end credits as well. And it's a great little video to go with that, and I really love it. But it's very different than something, you know, something more classical, like a lot of these are. I also was tempted to go for a more classical one, which was, I think it's The Kiss, which is from the film Last of the Mohicans.
Okay.
And that's got a really nice thing. But the whole soundtrack of that is just variations on that same theme. The same sounds and stuff like that. There's a particular sound that that's repeated.
They do a lot. I did find that's what when I was going through. They do that a lot. Of course, you've got to have your theme bit, right? And you just repeat that in its different flavours, which is okay. Yeah,
and then another piece of music I really love, which is by James Horner, and it's from Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan.
Okay, yeah.
And
the original kind of Star Trek, not the new Star Trek.
Yes, Star Trek, The Wrath of Khan.
Yeah.
When Khan isn't just Benedict Cumberbatch.
Yeah, so basically in a black suit.
Unnecessary. Make him another villain. This doesn't fit
the vibe. Yeah, I get that.
But it's interesting that James Horner also scored another science fiction film called Battle Beyond the Stars. Now this was one of those films that came out because Star Wars was a success, but its soundtrack is almost like a pair with Star Trek 2. I'll have to get you to listen to it at some point just to see how close they are with the sounds that they're playing with. And again, same composer, similar themes, similar sounds. But I love both of them, despite that. You know, I love both these pieces of music. I really had to break it down to get to Godzilla and decide.
Well, I'm glad you did.
Yeah,
it was a really good choice.
I'm glad it's something that you haven't heard before.
Well, we have waffled on quite a long. It's already got an hour and 40 from my recording. I'm sure we edited down.
Sunday episode.
Indeed. Well, let's look to the week ahead.
Yes.
Shall we? This week I've actually got a D&D session on Wednesday with some friends, so I think I'll talk about D&D because I'd like to explore D&D with you. I know we've done a D&D session before. I think we could talk about it more. I'd like to talk just about it generally because I think it's good for communities and I think it's a good idea to do more D&D as a society.
Wow.
Or in some flavours.
So a healing factor.
I think it really, really is. So I'll have a D&D session this week and I'll talk about that. That'll be my thing. And also for your homework, because I think we'd like to do the homework, I will be sending you a Deep Pocket Monsters video. Now it's about Pokemon. But I think you'll really enjoy him. Pat is a great YouTuber. and he'll provoke emotion, and I'll find one that will make you well up slightly. I'm almost certain I can get you one that will actually make you feel a bit teary. So that will be my homework for you, Mark.
Okay.
Looking to the week ahead, what will you be watching, and what kind of homework do you think you can change it up a bit if you want, but like give it a vague idea of the homework perhaps and what you're going to see this week?
Well, I think the main thing I was going to try and do was to watch Fantastic Four again.
Okay.
I really,
we'll give you an extension on that homework.
Yeah, I want to watch that before I lose the opportunity in the cinema. And I was thinking about that film I just spoke about, Adventures of I can't even say it.
That's fine.
Buckaroo Bonanza Across the Eighth Dimension. The Adventures of Buckaroo Bonanza Across the Eighth Dimension.
That's a mouthful to be
because
fair.
it's such an unusual film. That'll be interesting to see.
My take on it.
2001. I would say 100%. That's a classic. You can that it has changed over the years, but something like Buckaroo Bonanza, I'll just shorten it.
Yeah.
It's an odd film.
Okay.
And I'd be interested to see.
Is it rated well? Is it like a famous film, or is it really
just
just
a cult following? It's that kind of thing. Which,
yeah.
Which sometimes with when somebody gets labelled as a cult film, it's like, you mean it's shit.
Well, it normally means it's very almighty. In that it normally means a lot of people hate it, but like a small core of people like it. So that's fair enough. Okay, so that's my homework, is to watch.
Yeah.
Okay, I will get that. You're going to have to tell me where to find that as well.
I'll have a look and see if I've got. Have you got a DVD player?
I have a PlayStation 5. I'm sure. I'm sure I can rig one up. I've got the resources to make that happen.
I'll have a look at that in a minute, because that would be unfair if that isn't out there.
Well. Thank you very much, Mark. I think that's the. Should we wrap it up there? I assume so.
Yes, I think
it's been long enough.
Anything else to talk about?
No. I think we've covered everything.
Well, it was really nice to.
It was good. I think we cared most about this episode, if that makes sense. We had a lot to convey to people, I think, about what we liked and what we didn't. So, goodbye and have a good weekend.
Goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye.